way that Allah uses to test us. It says you need 40 days to get rid of a bad habit. 40 days to change yourself. 40 days to tahajjud in order for you to become a mu'min, to become a zahid, to become a arif. 40 days is the test period that Allah has given us. When Musa went up to the mountain, Allah called him. And the way that Musa ran up to the mountain, as the Quran describes it, is quite interesting. With a whole lecture about yearning for Allah and how Musa runs towards Allah on the mountain. Listen, Musa, why are you in such a haste? He said, Allah, I've come to see you. I've come to yearn for you. Musa had power. He was the master of his tribe. He was a chief. Yet he was missing one thing that he ran towards. That one thing was Allah. He ran towards Allah. Many of us, when we have wealth, we have power, we forget Allah. Musa had it all, but he came towards Allah because he was not complete. He comes for 30 days. And his people, the Bani Israel, for 30 days they were fine. They were mu'mins, they were believers, nothing had changed. 31 days they were mu'mins. 33 days they were mu'mins. 35 days they were believers. On the 37th days when they strayed, Musa told them, I'm only going up to the mountain for 30 days. So they were like, what's Musa? What happened? When is he coming back? And one of the persons says, Musa's gone. Our God is gone. Let's make a calf out of gold and worship him. Imagine. The story of Moses. The sea had been split. Allah showed them so many miracles. The wand of Musa, the hand of Musa, Fir'aun dying, all of these signs. Yet they have the audacity to come out and they disbelieve in Allah. You find only after 40 days where the fasiq was revealed. These people showed their true essence after 40 days. That's the test period that Allah gives us. Allah saying to you, I'm going to test you for 40 days. I'm giving you 10 days as a wake-up call to shock you. Then you have 30 days to work on yourself. In a total of 40 days, how are you going to deal with the situation? Are you going to be like Bani Israel and disbelieve in me after Muharram is gone? Are you going to go back to your ways and do the same exact thing all over again? Is this what you're going to do? I'm giving you 40 days. Use them and move forward with these 40 days. That's why Arba'een is so significant. Yes, Imam Hussein, Bibi Zainab did come back. And she came back and she put the heads back on the bodies. But what's the significance? How is Imam relating to my life? Yes, Imam's head was cut off. Yes, Al-Abbas's hands were cut off. But brothers, please, how can these Imams change me? How can they change me? Yesterday I said that doing Sina Zani or Latmiya or whatever that you may call it is actually worship. Crying for Imam Hussein is worship. You know how it's worship? It depends on your intention. Many people sit and when the person is reciting and crying, they're thinking, my God, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, his hand got cut off. His head got cut off, they start crying harder. That's okay. We should cry for Imams and what happened. But we should also not forget there's two reasons why we should cry. The tragedies of our Imams is one, and many of us do an excellent job at that. But the second side we can't forget. When we sit there and cry for Imam, we are saying, oh Allah, your Imam lost his head. Your servant, Hussein alayhi salam, lost his head. Hazrat Abbas lost his hands. They lost their body parts. They fought for us. And they wanted us to become ones who pray. Oh Allah, I don't pray. Help me pray. Oh Allah, Hussein alayhi salam was so kind. Allah, I'm not kind. Help me become kind. It's as if you're doing worship towards Allah, making dua. In that sense, it becomes worship. Two sides. Many of us do an excellent job at crying for Imam, and that's good. That's part of the ibadah that we do. But let's not forget the other dynamic side. There's two sides of the equation. It's not one-sided. And that's very important for us to realize, that there are two sides to this whole equation. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The significance of Arba'een is past the physical. Much past the physical. The Arba'een days are days where you and I reflect. Remember the days of Muharram where we all were mourning and crying in the most abnormal ways. Men who are fearsome, strong men would sit and weep like they have never wept before, but only for Imam Hussein. You never see this, only for Imam. You see people who never came to the masjid, yet they come. They come. Why? Because it's for Imam. That feeling of spirituality should be with you all the time. Matter of fact, it should strengthen all the way to the 40 days. Keep going and going. Allah saying to you, I'm giving you time. I'm giving you 40 days. Assess yourself after these 40 days. Where are you? Allah says, I know. In the year, you might be busy. You might go out with friends who are bad. You might do things that are haram, be corrupt. But I'm giving you a shock. I'm giving you a 40-day wake-up call. I'm starting it by really shocking you, which is the 10 days of Muharram. And then I want you to continue the 10 days by progressing towards what Imam wanted. This is why 40th is so important. This is the main reason of why Arba'een is very important. And it's a delicate issue, but if it strikes the heart, my God, it will change all of us forever. Let's not be cultural with Imam Hussein. Let's not be cultural. Let's come here, Ramadan is happy, Muharram is sad, funeral smile, funeral laugh, cry, wedding smile. These are always our same routine daily over and over. Let's think. Why is it that we're sad in Muharram? And why is it others are happy? Let's research their side and see what they say about this issue. Why are they happy? Why are they okay with it? Why aren't they crying like we're crying? What's going on? I'm Shia, they're not. What's happening? Ask yourself questions. Be skeptical. Number one, make sure that you're skeptical with yourself when you ask questions. Number two, make sure that you are one who is doing contemplation. You're thinking about the signs that Allah has put all around you. There are signs all around you. And number three, make sure that through silence you gain certainty. It's very important. The last point is to be able to come towards submission. Submit to Allah and Allah will guide you. Tonight is a very, very special night, where it's the night of the 40th of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. When coming to the story of Arba'een, what happened, and what went on in the family of the Holy Prophet, they were in Sham, and they were to be returned back to Medina, returned back to the city of Rasulullah, which, by the way, Yazid ransacked a year after he killed Imam Hussein. Yazid was leader for 3 years. First year he was leader, he killed Imam Hussein. Second year, he burned down the Kaaba. Third year, the blood flowed from the people, from the many people he killed in Medina, all the way inside the mihrab of the Holy Prophet. Look at what a corrupt man he was. 3 years. And 3 years he caused chaos. When he came to Medina, Mecca, and he destroyed the Kaaba, 1,000 women were born with illegitimate children. This is the chaos that Yazid caused in only 3 years of his life. But Sayyidah Zainab in her majlis, she looked at him and she said to him, Yazid, I see you as if you're vanishing. And we're staying. And who stayed and who vanished? Where is the grave of Yazid? It's nowhere to be found. But look at the shrine of Sayyidah Zainab. Look at the shrine of Aba Abdullah. Look at how they stayed legends till today. We mourn over Imam Hussein. Till today we're mourning over him. It's an extraordinary thought. When I think about our Imam, I said, my God, Zainab alayhi salam, it's as if she's looking into the future. Saying, Yazid, you want to erase what we have started? You will never erase our remembrance. Because we are the ones who will stay and you will fade. And today, who stayed and who faded? Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. After requesting from Yazid to give Imam Zain al-Abidin the heads of the bodies, Yazid finally agreed to give them the heads, and he's sending them back to Medina. There are 2 roads that lead to Medina, one that cuts by Karbala, and another road that doesn't cut by Karbala. When they arrived to the splitting of the paths, Imam Zain al-Abidin looked at the caravan leader and said to him, let me ask my Aunt Zainab. Let me see what direction she would like to go. Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, he goes to Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, says, Auntie Zainab, there are 2 directions. Would you like to go towards the direction that passes by Karbala or the direction that cuts through Karbala? She said to him, my son Zainul Abidin, take us to the path, then send us by your father Hussein, so that we may go to your father father and see him for one last time, for I have not seen him for 40 days. Zainab alayhi salam, her caravan cuts through Karbala. Narrations have it that one of the companions of the Holy Prophet by the name of Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari, this man was a companion of Rasulullah. He was an old man. He came with his servant Atiyah, and he sat by the grave of Imam Hussein. This man comes, he was a blind old man. He comes by the grave and he says to his servant, "Oh Atiyah, let me feel the grave of Hussein. Let me feel the grave of my beloved Hussein, for I swear Rasulullah used to kiss Hussein every day." He sits by the grave of Aba Abdullah. He says to him, "Habibi Hussein, Nur Aini Hussein, Habibullah yajibu Habiba." He says, "Hussein, is it true that you are my beloved and I am your beloved, but you do not reply to me? Why is it that you are under the grave and you're not alive in front of me so that I may see you?" All of a sudden, Atiyah looks at his master Jabir and he says to him, "Oh Jabir, I see a cloud approaching us." Jabir says to him, "Oh Atiyah, go into that cloud and see who it is. If it is Zainul Abidin and his caravan, then you are free to the face of Allah. Go ahead, then you are not a slave anymore. But if it is the army of Yazid, then come back towards me so we can find a shelter to hide." Atiyah goes toward that black cloud and he comes back to Jabir, saying to him, "Oh Jabir, arise, it is Zainul Abidin and the women of Aba Abdullah, including Zainab." Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam comes off of his horse and he comes by Jabir and he stands by Jabir. He says to him, "Are you Jabir?" He says to him, "Master, I am Jabir." He looks at him and says to him, "Oh Jabir, this is where they killed my father Hussein. Oh Jabir, this is where they killed my brother Ali al-Akbar. Oh Jabir, this is where they killed Qasim." He points toward the Nahar, he points toward the river and he says, "That's where they killed Abul Fadl al-Abbas." He starts to cry. He says to him, "Ya Jabir, ma دريت الصار بينا والله بينا غارت الخيل عليها." He says to him, "Oh Jabir, you don't know what happened. The enemies of Allah killed my father Hussein and they came and they burned the tent." Zainab alayhi salam in these instances weeping and crying. As narrations have it, she threw herself from the camel on top of the grave of Aba Abdullah and she started to weep and cry and say, "My brother Hussein, 40 days I have been away from you." تقول خايا يا أربعين ليلة فارقيتك من جلة الوالي خيتك ضربان ونسقب بدياني. Says Aba Abdullah, 40 days I left you. They strike us and they hit us, yet we have to move what they strike us with our hand. We are the daughters of Amir al-Mu'mineen, yet they are able to strike us and see our shadows, when in one time they were not even able to see the shadow of Zainab. Then Zainab alayhi salam looks left and right. Imam Zainul Abidin says to her aunt Zainab, "I know what you are looking for. You are looking for the grave of your brother Abul Fadl al-Abbas. His body is by the river." He takes the hand of Zainab. Zainab here, her back is hunched because she has so much pain on her. She comes by the grave of Abul